Speak version equals 1.0 XMLNS equals http://www.w3.org/2001/10/synthesis. XMLNS. MSDTS equals https://www.w3.org/2001/MSDTS Lang equals NUS. Voice name equals NUS Neural. MSDTS. Express as style equals SAD style degree equals 1.8. Prosody rate equals -18%, pitch equals -10%. I am 93 years old. The loneliest people I know are my own children. They're in their 60s now. We had them young. My wife Margaret and I had them so young that we didn't even have the chance to enjoy our 20s. We got married in our early 20s. Margaret was a school teacher and I was an accountant. We thought we had it all planned out. We were living in a small town in Illinois where I grew up. It's a beautiful place with lots of green. In those days, we didn't have all this technology. We didn't have cars like we do now. It was a simpler time. But simpler doesn't mean easier. Easier doesn't mean happier. There's a big difference between the two. Anyway, back to my children. They're grown up now with their own families. I love them with all my heart. They're good people. But I realized recently that I made a huge mistake with them. A mistake so huge that it's like a weight has been hanging over me ever since I thought of it. We always told them to be successful. We always told them that success was the most important thing in life. Be successful, we said. Do well in school. Get a good job. Make money. And they listened. They worked hard. They got good jobs. They made a lot of money. But were they happy? No, they weren't. I looked at them and I saw the emptiness in their eyes. I saw the sadness in their smiles. They had everything, but they were still lonely. They still felt like something was missing. And then it hit me. We gave them the wrong recipe for happiness. Nobody told me this when I was growing up. Nobody told me that success wasn't the key to happiness. They lied to us. They told us that success would make us happy. So we chased success, and our children chased it too. And what did we get? Loneliness. I'm not saying it's their fault. I'm saying it's ours. We failed them. We failed ourselves. We failed to teach them what really matters. We failed to teach them that happiness comes from within. It comes from relationships. It comes from experiences. It comes from living a life of purpose. I was completely wrong. I thought I was doing the right thing by pushing them to be successful. But what was I really doing? I was pushing them to be like me. I was pushing them to conform to an image of what society thought was important. I was pushing them to lose themselves in the process of chasing success. And now I see the damage that's been done. My children are good people, but they've lost themselves in the process. They've lost touch with what's truly important. They've lost touch with their own hearts. I can see it in the way they talk, in the way they think, in the way they live. They're living a life that's not truly their own. It's hard to admit this to myself, but I've been living a life that's not truly mine either. I've been living a life that's been driven by the need to succeed. I've been living a life that's been driven by the need to prove myself to others. And it's exhausting. It's exhausting because it's a never-ending cycle of striving and striving and striving. And what's it all for? Happiness. That's what it's all for. But we've been chasing the wrong thing. We've been chasing success. We've been chasing wealth. We've been chasing status. But we've forgotten what really matters. We've forgotten about love. We've forgotten about connection. We've forgotten about living. I'm not saying it's too late for us. I'm saying it's never too late. We can change. We can start anew. We can start teaching our children what really matters. We can start teaching them that happiness comes from within. We can start teaching them that relationships are more important than success. I'm talking to all the parents out there right now. I'm talking to the ones who are pushing their children to be successful. I'm talking to the ones who are forcing their children to conform to an image of what society thinks is important. Stop. Just stop. Let your children be themselves. Let them make their own mistakes. Let them learn their own lessons. Let them find their own way. Don't push them to be like you. Don't push them to be like me. Let them be themselves. Let them find their own happiness. And to all my younger friends out there, listen to what I'm saying. Don't make the same mistake that I made. Don't chase success at the expense of your own happiness. Don't sacrifice your relationships for the sake of wealth. Don't sacrifice your soul for the sake of status. Find your own way. Find your own happiness. Live a life that's true to who you are. Live a life that's driven by your own heart. That's what I wish I had done. That's what I wish I had taught my children. But it's not too late for me. It's not too late for you. We can change. We can start anew. We can start living a life that's truly our own. We can start teaching our children what really matters. We can start teaching them that happiness comes from within. It's not easy. It's not easy to let go of the old and start anew. But it's necessary. It's necessary if we want to live a life that's truly happy. It's necessary if we want to live a life that's truly fulfilling. So let's do it. Let's start anew. Let's start living a life that's true to who we are. Let's start teaching our children what really matters. Let's start teaching them that happiness comes from within. Let's start living a life of purpose. Let's start living a life of connection. Let's start living a life of love. I'm 93 years old, but I still have things to say. And if this reached your heart, please subscribe. I still have things to say. /prosody, /mstts, express as, /voice, /speak.